Hello, I'm Ava and welcome back to Lucinski Productions. Today we are talking about confirmation bias in relation to crime investigations, more specifically the West Memphis 3 case. To remind you, confirmation bias is when the brain only sees answers that the brain subconsciously wants to see, purposely ignoring counter-arguments or alternative theories. Now let's get into the video.
In 1993, a judge found 3 adolescents, Damian Eccles, Jesse Miskelly, and Jason Baldwin, guilty of the murder of 3 8-year-old boys. The case presents minimal evidence in opposition to the adolescents. The only evidence includes Eccles' Satanist tendencies. In the 1980s and early 1990s of America, if someone listened to heavy metal bands or wore black, the label Satanist fit the so-called Satanist. Eccles, Miskelly, and Baldwin were good friends, therefore the judge of the case often associated them together. Throughout Eccles' whole trial, Eccles continues to admit to different so-called Satanist hobbies Eccles performs, including reading certain novels, Eccles' fondness for black clothes, and how Eccles unintentionally changed his last name to sound similar to Demon because of the name of a saint. Eccles admits, "I never wished I hadn't listened to Metallica. It makes you feel alive." For the judge of the West Memphis 3 case, the confession by Eccles and his general Satanist aesthetic and tendencies showed as sufficient evidence to convict the 3 adolescents guilty of murder of the 3 8-year-old boys. In 2011, more evidence came out that suggested that the father of one of the 8-year-old boys murdered may have orchestrated the killings of his stepson and his stepson's friends. A hair of Terry Hobbs, stepfather of Stevie Branch, one of the boys murdered, stayed on a shoelace used to murder the 3 boys. Additionally, a neighbor of the Hobbs Branch family claimed that Terry Hobbs went out with the 3 young boys around the same time of the 3 boys' deaths. The neighbor said, "I saw Terry Hobbs coming down the sidewalk here, coming this direction. He was calling for Stephen to come back down to their house."
The only evidence presented in the case of the adolescents has to do with one of the boys' tendencies, still not proven to be dangerous. Subconsciously, confirmation bias affected the judge and the media looking at the Memphis 3 case, as the judge and the media judged the case based off of what the judge and media thought should have happened and wanted to happen, but did not happen. The previous judge only believed what the judge wanted to believe, that the 3 teenagers who had Satanist tendencies must have arranged the crime, because why would the boys who were murdered family members do it? The judge found the easiest targets, the adolescents, and pinned the doing of the crimes on the adolescents, even though no evidence besides assumed evidence based off of aesthetics and interest proved the adolescents' guiltiness. So how does confirmation bias relate to criminal investigations in general? Basically, the investigator passive-aggressively asks the convicted criminal questions, hinting at pieces of proof that the convicted criminal may or may not know, hoping that the convicted criminal subtly or explicitly admits to what they may or may not have done. The investigator intentionally and subconsciously ignores the other pieces of evidence that may point to the fact that the criminal did not commit the crime and maybe someone else did. The investigator points out obvious clues and ignores the clues that require deeper investigation, but may hold hints that could change the whole investigation. The investigator only points out the clues that they want to be true, so the investigator can change the whole case around.
Intense, enforced interrogation was exactly what the crime investors did to Jesse Miskelly. With a low IQ score and keeping him investigated for 12 hours, he was sure to admit to it. And Miskelly even did admit that since they kept him there for so long, he just admitted to the crimes he didn't commit because he was tired.
Thank you so much for watching and tune in for the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye!